All right, Beyond the Gates fans, Friday, Beyond the Gates episode 49. Solid 8 out of 10. Danny got on my dang nerves, and I think one of my favorite bits was her parents' reaction to her later in the episode. But yeah, episode 48 was a pretty solid episode. I gotta say, these 3 episode weeks have been pretty good all around. I mean, I mentioned in my episode 48 review that in all honesty, we had 2 weeks of straight banger episodes. Yet, it's crazy how we had about at least almost a solid month of episodes that are kind of subpar. They weren't bad, they were kind of meh. But I guess it's one of those things where they were building up to these amazing episodes. So in the long run, it was worth it. So let's get into this review. Before we move forward, please take a moment to hit like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description. And hit that bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel. So we start off in the diner. And Naomi, and look, I know I said that I would no longer crush on actors and stuff like that. But Naomi and later on Ashley, their hair was just, I don't know what happened, but I don't know. It's like there was something different. And I was like, whoa. So I like what I saw. But Naomi is trying to find shelter or a place at one of the shelters in the area for June because, you know, she's trying to represent her. And for her sake, she can't do her job as June's, attorney if she's worried about her client's safety. And the thing is, you know, June isn't all for a shelter. She wants to go back to the underpass where she is most comfortable. But Jacob makes a point to say, look, you being alone and under that underpass is, well, low-key how you got into this situation to begin with. So without any luck finding a place, Jacob suggests using her to pre-name, which Naomi doesn't want to do. But eventually we learn that she contacted Martin, and with him being a political figure and whatnot, he's able to do better than a shelter, but finds a hotel room for June to stay in. Which Smitty reveals, oh, wait, that's the place your dad is at, but your grandpa told me not to tell you. And then Martin blows up on him for, being involved in the pre-family business. Like, what, do you think about hurt my own father? Like, I'm a big child? So he just gets up and storms out. Which, leads to Kat, who's actually uptown as well. And I think this is great because I think this is the first time we've seen Kat and Smitty, brother and sister-in-law, sit down and talk. And Smitty is being, trying to avoid conflict as always. When Martin gets mad, it's like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, your granddad told me to not tell Martin about where to find his dad, but maybe your brother's right. I should stay out of the pre-family business. And thankfully, Kat defends him. Is like, look, you are a valued member of this family. You are a great husband, way better than my brother deserves, and you're an amazing father to my niece and nephew. So don't you ever say that you ought to, quote unquote, stay out of family business when you are a part of the family. And speaking of business, Kat gets a call to handle something for, the fashion line. And she leaves uptown just as Tomas is coming in for their date. Because in the last episode, they're at the country club, but in this episode, they have lunch together. And she's like, oh, I got to go. I'll be right back. Can you do me a favor and just save us a table? And while she does, Eva comes in like 2 seconds after Tomas sits down. And if you remember what happened in episode 48, she asked Tomas to cut all ties with Eva for her sake. And yet in this episode, he spots her from across the room and goes up to her, and she's like, wait, do you think you ought to sit with me? I'm kind of public enemy one right now. And Tomas like, oh, come on, we could just talk. I mean, it's like, I never thought I'd peg you for the malicious type. Wow. I mean, at most, people have been giving me evil glares and whatnot, but you just sit down and straight up offend me like this? And then I need to go because the last thing I need to do is break down in public again. And he's like, wait, you can confide in me. And she points out how she failed her mom and Ted and Nicole. And, she wished she could take it all back because the fact that, she's hurting and she feels bad for everything and how it went down. So when she's about to get really emotional and break down again, it's like, look, I can't do this. I got to go. Tomas takes her hand and caresses it like, no, please don't. And in the distance, Kat comes back and sees this and she jets out. Tomas, you piece of trash. Because look, first of all, he messed up in my book the moment he went over there to talk to Eva, first of all. But, you know, I was kind of skating the line of, bro, you're portraying Kat to perhaps he's trying to be peacemaker in terms of Kat and Eva because, well, they're sisters and maybe talking to Eva will give him some insight that he might play, you know, the middleman between the sisters to link them up. But now it's like, nah, you're doing too much. I think he's enticed by Eva because of how, let's be real, dangerous she is compared to a Kat. So, yikes. Yeah, Kat, lead this dude. Just, bro. The fact that she told you that her dad, who was supposed to be a loving father and husband, betrayed the family. Now you're low-key doing the same thing after she asked you not to. Yeah, y'all ain't going to make it. Y'all ain't going to make it. So it's hard to tell who. Well, I'm willing to believe she might think Kat came up to Tomas instead of the other way around, but we know it was Tomas. Now, after that, whoops, I looked at my notes, my bad, because I know in the comment section of episode 48, people are probably going at me, but I forgot to mention that in episode 48, after Eva got thrown out by her mom, she went to Ted's apartment because she had no other place to go. How did she know where Ted was staying? But, she pretty much was welcomed in by Ted and explained everything, and he's, you know, like, look, this isn't about me forgiving you because there's a lot of stuff that happened. But he basically says, so what was this all about? And it's like, you know, to ruin the marriage. Oh, no. Not what your mom wants, but what you want. To get to know my father and so we could be a part of each other's lives. And you know what? Well, let me just start by trying to undo the wrongs I did so long ago. So let's start by hitting the reset button and finding you an apartment. So that was the first thing. Now, I apologize. My bad. But, from there, picking up from episode 48, you know, Vernon and Anita both have time trying to comfort their daughter. That's essentially what it's about. And she decides, you know what, the best thing I could do now is go back home and try to stand on my own 2 feet. And Vernon sees how Anita is upset because she wants to beat the mess out of Ted. And I'm thinking, like, they're the parents, so I get it. I can't be mad. But later on, Vernon low-key defends Ted by saying that, you know, well, to be fair, he didn't know about Eva. It's like, I'm not trying to, you know, defend. Well, Vernon, he impregnated another woman while married to our daughter. Yeah, I know. But it goes back to what I said in episode 48, how characters are mad but not ignoring the fact that Ted's been, well, walking the walk and talking the talk for the past 20 plus years. What he did was inexcusable, but at the same time, we can't just ignore that he was a good husband for 98% of his marriage. Just throwing that out there. Now, Anita wants to chew him out, and then from there, Danny comes in because this is after she had just went at Bill. So going back to that scene, Danny, this episode just proves how little Danny knows. So she's chewing out Bill for not telling her about the cover-up when it's like, first of all, why would I tell you? Why would I tell you? And this is in reference to while they were still married 20-something years ago when Ted went to Bill about the affair. So, because she then goes to just play the same song over again about, oh, you selfish SOB, you never do anything for yourself, because she's throwing it in Bill's face about how much Vernon and the Dupree family did to build his career. But I'm starting to see a different perspective of Bill in terms of, number one, Danny's going in on him being selfish, never doing anything for anyone else. The Duprees made you never did anything for the Duprees. Not knowing about the Martin cover-up Yep. But I love how Bill didn't take this sitting down, because he literally stood up and was like, look. Let's not sit up here and act like I wasn't treated like an outsider when I was brought into the almighty Dupree family by you. I was meant to play a role, aka the cleaner. So essentially it's like, so yeah, your father may have done this, that, and a third to help my career get off, but it didn't come without a cost. My ability to cover things up, use favors to leverage power and whatnot, I had a role to play. So don't act like your dad helped me out of the goodness of his heart. No. He saw the potential in what I can do for the Dupree family in the long run. So while I wasn't given like a briefcase of money, I was given celebrity, high maintenance clients to help build a name for myself with my ability that your father saw. But Danny just doesn't want to see it that way. She just keeps going in on him. It's like, so what? So aside from Ted, because he mentions how, I did that cover up to help, protect your family name from any damage and whatnot. So, oh yeah. So what else have you done for my family that you claim to have done? What other skeletons are going to fall out of the closet? I'm just sitting here like, Danny, shut up. I can't believe I'm saying that, especially after all I said about Haley in episode 48. But Danny, you just don't know. You just don't know. And from there, she's like, stay out of the family business. Oh, well, I thought you would have gotten that hint when I left you. I can't believe I married such a soulless man. So then she left. Haley comes downstairs and asks, they're always this loud when they argue. But it's like, so are you finally done with the Dupree family? Yes, baby. Yeah, okay. No, she's not. No, he's not. Because that leads to what happens with Smitty in Uptown when he gets a text on his phone. And it's from Bill, who summons him. And he comes over to the house and, Bill tries to, throw on the charm, like, basically the sleazy car salesman in terms of, hey, would you like a drink? And, congrats on getting back into the journalism world. It's like, I'm very, very impressed with your work and seeing if you need any legal representation and whatnot. No, I'm fine. My company comes with legal help. Or no, basically low key, he wants Smitty to remind Martin about the power of favors and having Bill Hamilton in his corner. Look, say what you want, but regardless as to what Bill tells Haley, he does miss being the power broker of the Dupree family, the cleaner within the Dupree family. So he's not done yet. He's not. He's far from it. He's literally trying to move things into place right now. And Smitty ain't having it, but man, this is some wild stuff. Now, over at, let me see here. Over at his hotel room, Andre comes over with, some alcohol for his uncle so they can talk about everything. And Ted apparently went into work, and, well, work itself was fine. He couldn't help but notice that everybody there who was at the anniversary party and, well, everybody who loves Nicole and essentially everybody at the hospital was giving him dirty looks the entire time. And he's not sure he can, well, actually, Andre's like, well, I don't know what I can do, but is there anything I can do? It's like, well, if you could talk to Nicole and just convince her that my love for her was never a lie and that I still love her. And Andre's pretty much like, look, I don't know if I can really do all that, but I'll see what I can do. If she doesn't want, I don't even know if she wants to hear that kind of thing from me. Now, he eventually leaves, and then Martin comes in and essentially just chews out his dad for, lying to him the whole time. And, Ted just kind of takes it. Every time he tries to say something, Martin, goes in on him about how much I'd brag about you to all my classmates when I was younger and the fact you supported me when I went into the bait instead of sports and whatnot. And, well, instead of, even though I was named after Martin Luther King, I was looking up to you. So he's a hurt son right now. And on the other hand, I'm kind of side-eyeing him like, Martin, come on now. What about your secret that your mom and apparently your dad don't even know about? So, I don't know. Something about Martin and Danny. Let them run their mouths now, but when the truth comes to the surface, they'll shut up. So Martin pretty much just tells his son that, look, I know you're mad at me right now and you have every right to, but don't let what I did to your mom make it seem like I never had real love for you and your sister. But I'll fight and do whatever it takes to win you all back. So then Martin leaves and he cries, but hey, it makes sense. And from there, you have Naomi who calls Danny and asks her to stay out of this Dad, Ted, and Nicole stuff because we know how you're pretty much like a stick of dynamite in situations like this, and maybe it's best for them to handle things in their own way rather than cowboy Danny way and cowgirl Danny way. She's like, oh, don't worry about it. She hangs up. No, she basically is like, nah, fam, I want to handle this my way. So when she makes her way to her parents' house, in the midst of Anita, saying that she would like to, go tell off Ted, that's when Danny comes in. It's like, oh, that's not a bad idea. Matter of fact, I just left from Bill after lashing out at him for what he did in covering up the affair and whatnot. And you could just tell by the look on Vernon and especially Anita's face, because Vernon's like, we don't think that's a good idea. Because remember, they don't want to stir up Bill, because you piss off Bill, secrets are going to come out. And so Danny literally made things worse without really knowing how bad it can get when Bill is pushed. So she's like, well, you know what? Nicole might not want to do anything, but I want to handle this my way. And Anita rolling her eyes like, this little heifer, look, sit your ass down. We've had enough of the Danny antics, okay? All right? We're trying to make sure the daughter that has some sense isn't hurt, okay? So Danny, you sit your butt down before you turn everything upside down, all right? Because Danny just, no. And matter of fact, that leads to the end of the episode where Danny decides to go over to the hotel room and go off on Ted about, well, my sister might not tell you how low down and whatnot you are. Prepare for a mouthful for me, earful for me. I ain't gonna hold you. If I were Ted, I would have slammed that door. Like, no, I screwed up. I hurt your sister. I've had enough people coming over here going off on me today. You ain't got nothing to do with it. So get out of my hotel room. That's it. All right. So Andre actually does go over to, Nicole's place to basically remind her of how much Ted loves her. But he actually opened up with a line that I'm surprised he mentioned, because I'm like, bro, what are you doing? He apologizes for not telling her about the affair sooner. You knew about the affair. Whoa, well, he confided in me. I mean, first of all, I would have made the point to say, look, Aunt Nicole, I know this doesn't sound good, but in my defense, I didn't know about this affair until like 36 hours before it got exposed. So I really didn't know what to do with that information. And hey, I didn't know about Eva, and neither did Ted. We didn't know. So she's like, fine, I'm not going to blame you, Andre. It's like, it's crazy because it seems like every hour on the hour, I learned something new about my husband that makes it worse in terms of how everything went down. But then Vanessa comes over and they talk, and essentially, she's just there, to confide in her and whatnot, and or comfort her friend. And she's like, hey, thanks for talking to me. It's like, I need some alone time right now. And she actually is like, look, everything going on, I can't even think about cooking, so I just ordered delivery. So when there's a knock on her door, she lets the person in, says, hey, come in, but it's actually Leslie. How'd you get past the gate? Oh, I used the codes that Eva had. Well, I need to change those codes. Well, listen, I need to talk, and I want you to listen to me. Which kind of begs the question of, like, how did Leslie get past the gates? Oh, wait, is there a gate outside of Vernon and Anita's? Okay, okay. So I'm thinking, like, how Leslie got to Vernon and Anita's. So, okay, it is a gated community. All right. And Eva has the codes because she works there. Leslie got those codes, so that's how she was able to go to the country club. Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. All right. Now, from there, let me double check my notes here. Oh, yeah. So, over at the diner, Ashley and Derek come in. And they're kind of like, having a little double date with Jacob and Naomi, just chatting about stuff. But then Jacob gets a phone call, and it turns out June left the hotel. So he asked Derek to go help him in terms of, bringing her back and finding her. He's like, I think I know where she is. So that's when Ashley and Naomi have a moment to talk about the drama going on. And here we go with Naomi being paranoid, essentially feeling like the Dupree just stands for drama. And I mean, first my mom and dad, now Aunt Nicole and Uncle Ted, and what about me and Jacob? It's only a matter of time. And thankfully, Ashley kind of brings her down to earth, because more often than not, the issues in their marriage come from Naomi's own paranoia. So eventually June is found, and she makes it clear that the underpass is where she belongs, and that's where she's going to stay. Good luck with that. So aside from all of that, I just want to make sure I don't miss anything like I did in my last review. Naomi, Eva. Okay, yeah, so that is the end of the episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe as I requested before, and I'll catch you all in the next one.